press review time now. Dipty's joining us. She can start with the French papers, doubling down on their calls to block the National Rally far-right candidates in Sunday's second round of voting, Dipty.
Yeah, that's right, Stuart. And three papers say it's a pure coincidence, but three of the left-leaning press today have the exact same headline. This is Libération, the left-leaning paper, which you see here. Their headline reads, Désiste, prouve que tu résistes. Same for L'Humanité, the communist paper, and also Les Jours, which is a left-wing news website. Here it is. The interesting thing about this headline is that it's actually a play on words of a very famous song by France Gall called Résiste. Take a listen. So, Stuart, the line is résiste pour prouver que tu existes, so resist to prove that you exist. So here it is desist to prove that you can resist. So obviously they've appropriated the song for the elections anyway. The message is clear. Third place candidates should step down irrespective of which party they are from to allow the second place candidates to have a better chance of winning against far right candidates in first place in those runoff elections on Sunday. This is from Le Figaro, the right-wing newspaper lambasting Emmanuel Macron, but also the left-wing New Popular Front coalition for their alliances together, despite their enormous differences and in some cases even hostilities between the two.
And we'll be singing that song all day. Thank you, Dipty. The impact of France's elections, also the focus of many foreign press editorials today.
Yeah, this is from Le Temps. This is a Swiss paper. Their editorial today says that French Republicans must not hesitate in their vote, reminding us that while the far right have done a lot to varnish their image, they are still, I quote, rooted in an ideology and a world vision that is fascist. French citizens will have a political responsibility to decide between essentially the worst of two bad options, the paper says, come Sunday. Same stance taken by the Financial Times, the British daily, warning against the far-right surge in France, and says that the French opposition needs to mobilize to prevent Marine Le Pen's party from taking power, noting that the situation is not only bad for the French Republican values, but also for Europe as a whole. And then you also have a wonderful cartoon. I'm going to see if I have it somewhere to bring up for you. Here we go. This is by Patrick Blower, the Daily Telegraph cartoonist, blessing us with this great cartoon that manages to mix French politics and the Tour de France. You see Marine Le Pen, pole position there, right behind her, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the leader of that New Popular Front coalition, Emmanuel Macron on some kid's tricycle, desperately lagging behind those two.
All instantly recognisable as well. L'Équipe also reports on the victory of Biniam Girmay in the Tour de France. It's taking place right now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. This is an historic win by Biniam Girmay. He is the Eritrean rider for UCI World Team Intermarché 1T. He's the first black African rider to win a stage at the Tour de France. This was the sprint stage in Torino in Italy. He said his victory he dedicated it to all African riders, particularly those in Eritrea, saying that it shows that anything is possible. So a wonderful victory for him. He might want to hold off on the celebrations, though, because the Washington Post reminds us that while he is the first black African to win a stage at the Tour de France, he already became the first black African to win a stage at the Giro d'Italia 2 years ago. Unfortunately, though, his race was cut short because he was taken to hospital after sustaining an eye injury after a cork from a champagne bottle hit his eye. So you might want to hold off on those celebrations for the Tour de France tour.
Open a bottle of sherry instead. Let's end with more sports. The Wall Street Journal reports on a growing trend. Now, this is amongst older women for high-intensity workouts, really?
Yeah, it's wonderful. The Wall Street Journal says that they are essentially bucking the perception or the trend that older women should do gentle sports like yoga and Pilates. More and more women in their 50s, 60s and beyond are trying out strength training workouts, boxing, Olympic weightlifting and mastering pull-ups. Many of them say it helps with mind-body confidence and also bone density, which is really wonderful. Some of them even winning certain competitions. Speaking of sports, though, Stuart, to sports of a different kind, this is the cerebral sports, if you like. The Rubik's Cube turns 50 this year. It's named for its inventor, Erno Rubik. He is a Hungarian architect, designer, sculptor, and retired professor. The Rubik's Cube has 43 billion permutations.
Wow.
Needless to say, that's a lot. That is actually more than there are grains of sand in the world, although I don't know how you can count grains of sand, so go figure. But it also means it's 43 billion ways to make a person tear their hair out, present company included. Anyway, you can see all the kind of people who've tried to solve the Rubik's Cube. Here is Santa Claus in 1981 with Mr. Rubik himself.
Okay.
You also have, this is a World Cube Association World Championship in Melbourne in 2019, as you see there, furiously trying to solve the unsolvable, at least for me, Rubik's Cube. So
I've done it loads of times.
have you actually solved it?
I have, yeah. Well, we had a very cheap one, and you could pull it apart and put it back together.
That doesn't count.
Did it repeatedly? Doesn't count, no, probably not. Tika Lerong, 1980s Rubik's Cubes.